town hall started at 7 p.m. on, I think it's the 28th of October. We moved it tonight so that everybody can, go to see the final game of our Fairview High School Yellow Jacket football this Thursday at 7 p.m. And it's also senior night. So if you can come support the team, that'd be great. So we decided to move this to Tuesday night so that we wouldn't have to cancel it, but also so that we could do that. I do want to make one service announcement before we get started. With the government shutdown, there's people in communities that are hurting right now because they are not getting their assistance. So Shira Sturm and Rachel Davis have come together to host a food drive for our local Fairview Food Pantry to support the families in need. And with that expected increase in the demand in the coming days until the government gets back going again from their shutdown, they're asking the community to come together and help. There is a post Shira has put out on Fairview Then and Now. It is a food drive, drop off at Fairview Nutrition, which is in Brooks West, the strip mall that's vertical to Highway 100 at the west part of town, where Shira has Fairview Nutrition. And you'll be dropping off from 10/29, which is tomorrow, through November 14th, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday from 9 to 3. They will give out information to the families who come by during that time. And also, they ask if you get, please, non-perishable foods. And if you could, go to like somewhere where you could get a case of something, like a case of beans or a case of, like ramen noodles or something that's non-perishable, but get like a case so that they can fill bags with like one of each item. So we want to thank them for getting together and doing that for our community. Let's see. 29th through November 14th. And everything should be taken to Fairview Nutrition from 7 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 3 on Saturday. All right, if anybody has a question, please come to the podium and just tell us your name. This is kind of a, laid back time to be able to answer questions and talk to the community with no situation where at our board meetings we can't dialogue. So this is a time that we can dialogue and just have a laid back discussion. Thank you for our officer here.
Stressful evening.
Do what?
Stressful evening for you.
Yeah.
Mayor, I do want to
Commissioner Buffalini.
thank you. I do want to recognize all of our first responders because today is National First Responder Day. So I do want to recognize each and every one of our first responders. So thank you very much.
Now, no fighting over the mic.
Cook, 7422 Swindon Boulevard. I have a few questions to think about on things I heard about. Fair enough? Historical Village Park that y'all were looking at and everything, it's a good idea. With the amphitheater and all that you talked about last Thursday. Heard there was a possible grant on that meeting, matching grant. Says the appraisal value of the land could be used in half of our match. Don't know if it's going to be exactly half, but so you may not know these answers, but I'll give you a copy. I'd like at some point, this be, what's the timeline to find out if we are approved for the grant? Didn't quite remember that.
It's, yeah, it's next August.
We won't know till next August.
Right.
So that's gonna be tight for December, right?
I'm sorry?
If we use bond money or something? Or
We're not
looking at
using
that?
bond money.
Okay,
Yeah, the appraisal of the property, which is approximately 600,000, plus tree bank money for landscaping and such, and then a private donor for the rest, which will match that 1.1 if we get that grant.
okay. So if we're approved, what's the timeline we need to fund the appraisal of the appraisal of the land? So we can wait till August to see if we are approved before we pay for an appraisal of the land? Is that?
I would say we'd want to, Tom, do that before.
What if we're not approved, then we just spent that money? Don't have to answer now, but to me, it's like,
Yeah.
well, okay, if we don't get approved, then we spent money on appraisal. But we can't get approved without the appraisal. Oh, really? Okay.
It's match, so we have to
Oh,
have
we
we have our part.
I got
So
you.
with any grant, you gotta have a submission, right? There's a whole process that goes into
Okay.
that. Now, I don't know what that looks like, but in speaking with the lady who was here last night, or last meeting, talking about it, they are gonna help us, it sounds like, get that together, and I think that that would be part of it.
Not even just help, they're actually going to hold our hand. You might have heard that they've applied for 30 of these grants and gotten awarded all 30.
Yeah, she
So
said
that's
only
a
if the
pretty,
The I's weren't dotted and the T's weren't crossed is the only ones that people
that's the
don't get.
reason, after
Okay.
they've done 30, holding our hands and making sure that everything's done correctly. I mean, it's a pretty good possibility that we'll get that grant.
Okay.
I
Is that,
think-
I'm sorry.
She said, because I had just asked her, like, if everything went perfect, I think she said summer of '28 is a ballpark idea of when they're potentially could be completed, if everything, for just the project as a whole.
Oh, completely.
Okay, all right. All right, and then the remainder of the matching funds, y'all said you have private donors pretty much, right? All right, then once the pavilion is built, right, they said it would be used for farmer's market and booth rental. So some questions I have, I know you had to get into phase 2, but will there be any way to only unlock the electrical sockets for each booth that's paid for the use? Would there be an option for a vendor to pay a different rental price if they don't need electricity? Will there be tables and seats or benches for citizens to use pavilions for picnic when it's not being used for farmer's market, concert, play, et cetera, with no electricity available? Will there be a way for citizens to rent the pavilion with electricity for like a birthday party or something? Just questions, please, to think about.
These, in my opinion,
Uh-huh.
I think they're all good questions, but it's pretty granular for where we are in this right now. I don't think anybody's really tried to answer
I'm a
those
long thinker, sorry. That's
specific
just-
questions that are that detailed. I'm sure there'll be
Okay.
an
So
answer at some
consider
point,
these
but
things, please, then. I mean, I didn't expect answers for these, but whenever y'all get to some phase, I may not know you got to that phase, so I'm just asking those to be considered and break down, and then I ask if even part of this is paid for tax dollars or the upkeep. Be nice if the public could use it for some of those things.
We did actually cover that, and we talked about this being available the same way you can reserve a pavilion at Bowie Park or something, so that was covered, and the intent is that it would be
The gov dot, what, the
public
gov thing,
use, yeah, the
Okay,
GovWell.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I
Ethan
mean, I heard
mentioned
him
that
say
that would be
that,
open up, yes.
but I didn't hear the details of the electricity not, you want to keep it
Yeah, and
locked down.
to Vice Mayor McDonald's point, we're at the point where we're just trying to decide what to do with it, not down to the granular details. But I did ask in the last meeting if there would be electrical setup for refrigeration for the vendors who would be in those booths, and there was a
Right.
yes for that. So it sounds like what you're envisioning is probably what the general grand vision
And I heard
is
there was
for as well.
electricity, I was just wondering how you keep people from using it that's kind of my line of questioning. Or just think about that in whoever's going to create this, I guess, that's all.
Sure, I imagine the security of it will be part of the consideration.
So I guess in the playground that may be built at Bowie Park, or the pavilion that may be built at Bowie Park by the playground. I guess the same questions. If it has electricity, can it be, rented or anything? Other cities I've been in, my kids are grown now, but I mean, that's something that's always been nice to be able to do if possible. So just a thought. Okay, the next, I know the police aren't here, but the police training facility. I'm hoping when they bring it in, the cost is broken down between the tower and the building for training, when they give us the whole numbers. If the building for training costs a lot and won't be utilized very often and only for training, what options will be considered for the building? I know y'all are getting into that, but is it a concrete solid building, a prefab building, which could be cheaper, a double-wide trailer, or metal building? Just kind of, so we aren't necessarily have to spend 1 point whatever million. I don't know. Just a thought. The bond money payback. It appears we'll be paying back the bond money over the next 25 years, a little less at $500 million a year. Can our current budget pay for this every year without raising taxes?
500,000.
What?
500,000.
500 million?
Yeah.
I meant
500,000.
500,000, sorry, yeah. My bad.
Whoa.
Sorry,
That'd be
500,000.
nice, man. We could do
I knew I put the
something
M instead of a
community.
K, my bad. I knew it's 500,000, it's 400 something, yeah, thanks. Can our budget cover this right now without raising taxes? Okay, I was hoping you'd say that, yeah. What happens when we need a new firehouse, budget versus taxes? These are future questions. I'll ask when it comes up. What happens when I've heard the police and the fire and some of them employees, I mean, especially the police, I've heard them talk about, we train them, then they go somewhere else because other cities, budgets are higher or something. So what happens when police, fire, and/or city employees want a larger pay increase? Can our current taxes collected pay for that and these buildings and everything else? Just things, please, to think about. And I did get some more information on the water. If anybody wants to know, I actually talked to somebody. Exactly the breakdown, exactly what we pay, exactly what they can tell us and can't tell us.
I'd love to hear that because I know
Okay.
exactly what they told me last
Okay.
Monday, so go ahead.
All righty. So automatic monthly fees, the customer charge water is $6.50 plus tax, 63 cents. Sewer charge for sewer is $18.50. It was $6.50, it went up to $12 to $18.50 due to chemicals, electricity, fuel, labor, insurance, et cetera, increases, is what she told me. That also, I was told, that didn't just go up for Fairview. Fairview, Dixon, Burns, White Bluff all pay the same fees, because I had a question about that.
They do all pay the same fees.
They all pay the same fees. If you use no water, that's even possible. You close your house up and go somewhere for a month. Your minimum charge will be $25.63. But if you add $18.50, $6.50, and you only tax water and water usage and water fees, they do not tax sewer. And it's at 9.75% tax. Let's see. Then I do know the credit card, a lot of people I saw on that one, they said they paid almost $400,000 in credit card fees last year. So they have one of two choices, either start charging people that use credit cards or pass it along to everybody. I'm glad they chose to just pass it along to people who use credit cards. I did program for a company for about a decade that did this kind of stuff in between, so I kind of understand how that structure is. So options, you can have it drafted from your bank account, or my personal favorite, I go in there and bill pay online because I don't like people in my stuff. So, and that costs nothing. ACH is what that kind of is. So there was a lot of back and forth and false information on Facebook or whatever.
You are correct
Yes. So.
so far.
So, just for people that get surprises, I recently ripped out my yard because the builders here really do a bad job of taking rocks and stuff out and doing lawns. I wish we would look at that. But anyway, had it all done. Theo did a great job, ripped out the grass, the rocks, and everything else. Because of that, last year I prepared by putting in a second water meter, knowing I was going to do something with the yard, wasn't sure which. Went ahead and did a irrigation system. I say all this because I knew when I was going to do this, I quit watering the grass probably 5 weeks before, and we only did the drip and the plants and the trees we wanted to keep. And so my water bill was not that much. When we put the new one in, I had to water it twice a day for a week, which was about 11 hours total. Now I'm at once a day, till this roots, because it's a brand new zoysia, sod. That's about 5.5 hours. But they actually called me and said, "Do you realize you have 70,000 gallons of use on this bill?" I said, "Well, I didn't know how much, but I knew it was going to be big." So they said they have 22,000 customers, and if a customer uses 3 times their average, then they are going to call, which is what they did for me. I know that you kind of mentioned I don't know exactly how that was conveyed. I went at the meeting. They can tell you where your water is being used. Not quite as much. I was excited thinking we could do it like the electricity company where they say refrigerator, things are on all the time. You get that email. I like that. They can't really do that with water, I guess, because they don't have breakers and everything else.
They can
but-
do it inside and outside.
Yeah, they said that they can, what they can do is if we have the new meters, so anybody has newer meters, right? They can't do it on the old ones, but they can tell you when they start and stop. Like they could tell me when I started and stopped watering each day, which that was pretty cool. The time and the date and everything, I go, yep, that's right. And if the water's being used at night when most people are asleep, they may see, this is only after it's happened, right? And it's more usage. They may say it might be a toilet that needs to be repaired. They can kind of do that, but it's only after the fact. And that just keeps you from having to pay for that bill twice. But it's not a guarantee that's what it is. But they can at least let you know it's there or a different meter or whatever. But that can help you to try to fix everything. So that's really more what they can do. I wish it was as much but water's just a different beast, I guess. So, and just give you the last point, the example. My last bill was $110.93 because I stopped watering grass and stuff. I was informed my next bill will be $917.01. I'll be passing the plate. No, I'm just kidding. $819.46 for the 71,000 gallons I've watered in the new grass so far. However, if I didn't install the second meter, that one bill would have been $1,752.54. So it's about $1,000 right now to add a second meter, but then you got to do something with it. You either got to get a plumber to put it to your faucets, or you got to get a watering irrigation system. But that's my information.
Most people get second meters if they have a hot tub, swimming pool, or irrigation. They don't really need it if they don't have those 3 things.
Yeah, well, I was watering with semi-irrigation kind of timers, but come out of the spigots, and that helped, when I was doing that, because I wasn't sure if I was going to go the whole full-blown irrigation or not. But once I had to rip the whole yard out, I'm like, let's go for it. So hopefully that's some information. So any questions that I left something out? Or
Mayor,
Commissioner Hall?
Ms. Cook,
Yes.
on the paying by phone and this type thing.
Yes.
Did you possibly mention that there's no fee for a paper check?
Oh, yeah, true. There's no fee. You
No.
can mail in a paper check. It just
Right.
costs you for postage.
Yeah. Or you can take it down there and make sure you
Take
get
it
it there
down
on
there,
time.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's true. You can always do checks. I kind of, I'm sorry, been in IT too long. People wash checks, do things. There's just certain things I don't do much anymore, so.
well, I used to call mine in, so I could call it in at 2 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning and not have to worry about it, But anyway, that's another way
Yeah,
that
that
you
is
doesn't have
another
to pay
way.
a fee for it, so.
And they may do they have a Dropbox somewhere here and they pick it up?
Yes,
I
we have
think
a
they do.
kiosk out
That's what
there.
I was
Yes,
thinking.
ma'am.
Yeah, they have a Dropbox, so.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of these questions are future questions, but it was on my mind now, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor McDonald?
Getting a handful of texts about what is the scan me behind us, so I figure we should address that so people know what it is. It'll take you to a website where you can vote for Game of the Week for local high school football games. Fairview, who's hosting Waverly this Thursday, which is why we moved the meeting, is one of those games that you can vote on. We are currently in the lead, but we need all the votes we can get. The school gets some money from the Tennessee Titans, and I believe a couple individuals from that organization, players, past players or something, may come to the game too for the team who wins. So vote, vote, vote. I believe voting ends
How
tomorrow
often?
at noon, and you can vote as many times as you want. So,
So like just over and over again?
yep, just
cool.
keep on ringing them up.
So to add on that, there are 4 games that are in contention just now. One is Franklin Grace and BGA, and they're at 9.86%. Riverdale at Oakland is at 3.82%. Brentwood and Ravenwood is at 18.3%, and Waverly and Fairview are at 68.03%. So we're doing very good getting the information out there. I think our city is doing great communicating and voting, and that's what this QR code is behind us, and it's been all over Facebook, and we've been sharing that. So if everyone can just go on and do that, we'd really appreciate that.
So after I put the information in, will it hold it?
Autofills it, so it's a little
Ooh,
quicker.
autofill.
You still have to put in a couple, I think your birth date and stuff, but you do get entered into a drawing as well. We'll see how accurate that is. I feel like Don and I probably have about a couple thousand votes apiece, so
Yeah, you have
there's
to
a
be-
few others in town that have been along our side voting like crazy, so we'll see. If one of us doesn't win the drawing, it might be rigged.
Yeah, I've been voting often too. You have to be 18 or older, so just anybody who does it, you have to be 18 or over.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay, well, while I'm unmuted and no one else is coming to the microphone, I would just like to make a plug for the Fairview High School Thespian Society next weekend. They are doing their fall play. They're producing Neil Simon's Rumors. It's a comedy. They describe it as a sitcom-like sort of play. So it should be great. Shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 o'clock, and then a Saturday matinee, I think at 2 o'clock. But there are posters all over Facebook. There are posters all over town. And the posters are beautiful. I don't know who printed them. But they are all over. And so if you're interested in live theater, our high school students are really talented, and the set's going to be awesome. And so they'd love to see you out there. 4 opportunities to go see this play. 4 next weekend. Was that the 6th, 7th, and 8th?
Mayor?
Commissioner Buffalini?
To piggyback on community events that are going on, I believe tomorrow evening there are 2 churches that are having trunk or treats. First Baptist, is that correct? And One Church Home. One church, I don't know exactly what First Baptist is going to be doing. I'm sure they're doing a lot. I do know that One Church Home is having barbecue. We're going to have some food there. We're going to have games, a festival, inflatables. It's going to be a very much so kid-friendly carnival type atmosphere. So if you guys have nothing to do or you want to do something with your kiddos, definitely come down to both of these churches. I think it's going to be a great event at both churches, and you can go to both if you like. You can come to one and go to both, or do whatever you like.
Yeah, you can never have too much candy. And there is rain or shine. It will still happen. So if it's raining tomorrow night, I know First Baptist put that out today. They'll still have it inside. So.
And same thing with One Church Home.
Yeah.
And you do not have to be a member of any church to go to these events.
No, it's actually great for community outreach and come meet people at the
Absolutely.
church. Yeah.
And don't forget to vote.
First Baptist event is the trunk or treat, so it's this, I think it's almost exclusively or primarily made up of members of the church that have trunks giving out candy to any kids in the community that want to come, but it's a safe environment to get candy and know where it's coming from. And
A lot of the teachers at the Mother's Day Out program
We're
also
doing it
have
too.
trunks. Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be a good event. Last year, I think we had, I can't remember the number, it was silly.
Oh, so yeah.
thousands.
How many people showed
Yeah,
up?
it
Yeah,
was-
like the traffic was down Highway 100 last year. So while you're waiting in your car, you can vote for I'm kidding. I think voting will be over by then, but
Go over, but it ends at noon tomorrow. So at noon tomorrow. And, don't forget, clock changes this Saturday. Everyone gets an hour extra of sleep. You can get that beauty sleep. Some people.
Since we're on events, the other thing too, the Thursday night's game for the high school's big. They're going to want as many people as we can get out there to support them. At the end of the day, it's basically a championship game for their region, right?
Yes.
And we also at halftime, this past Saturday, the Fairview Titans youth football and cheerleading organization had their cheer competition up in Clarksville. It was a very, very fun day. Thank you to Commissioner Buffalini for emceeing the event. He did a fantastic job. But they will be, all three age groups will be doing their routines at halftime of the high school game. So you'll have plenty of entertainment to go around.
Mayor,
Mr. Hall?
has anyone mentioned is possibility of voting more than one time?
Yes, you can go as many times.
Many times you want. Thank you, sir.
I actually have a question. Does anyone know when the Veterans Day recognition at the high school is?
They're not having it this year.
They're not doing it this year? Oh. Thank you.
Mayor?
Commissioner Buffalini?
Since no one else is talking, I figure I'll eat up some time here. I want to send a big congratulations out to one of our neighboring cities, Franklin. Congratulations to Matt Brown, Bev Berger, Patrick Baggett, and Jason Potts on their election this evening. Those are the four that just won their election as of 27 minutes ago. So congratulations to Matt Brown, Bev Berger, Patrick Baggett, and Jason Potts, who is their vice mayor as well in city of Franklin.
Mayor,
Commissioner Hall?
thank you. Mentioning politics, had a couple of conversations with our former representative, Sam Whitson, today, and him reflecting on how he enjoyed working with all the people here in Fairview, and he was an excellent representative for our community. So he's enjoying life and actually getting a place down near where his grandchildren live now in northern Alabama, and just come in to pick up a few supplies on something he's remodeling. So I was glad to see him. He's looks like he's stress-free right now. Thank you.
Mayor, I spoke with text messages with Mr. Greer earlier. I was just inquiring about an update on the TPUDC stuff regarding the new zoning regulations. He said sounds like we're about 2 weeks out is what their goal is, to have that back to him. So it's going to be a tight schedule on whether or not that workshop prior to the November Planning Commission will happen or not. It still is the goal. But it sounds like if that doesn't happen, that we might move that workshop to before the second BOC meeting, I believe, so it would still take place in November. So we will try to get communication out to the community on that once we have set dates. But tentatively, it is still going to happen at some point in November, unless something gets delayed. And then I just got a text message that someone asked on the Facebook about a timeline on the new Welcome to Fairview signs. Have we had any update on where that's at? No. As we hear more about that, I mean, it's still in infancy of that, figuring it all out. But once we hear anything, we'll be sure to share that with everybody.
Mayor,
Commissioner Buffalini?
thank you. The TPUDC meeting that they had, Tom, can you tell us when we're going to get those minutes? Today's the 28th, right? So, and the meeting was on September 29th, and we still don't have those minutes back. Do you know when we're going to be getting that? Thank you very much for checking on that tomorrow. So I have another question, Mayor. Maybe Chris or someone else can, Vice Mayor McDonald or someone can answer this for me. When a city, when a subdivision goes up, and they have traffic lights, or rather, I'm sorry, street lights, who is responsible for those street lights?
Who runs the streets?
Who runs the
So
street? So if it's a city
If the city owns the
street,
streets, I'm right, Tom, if the city owns the streets, we pay the bill for the street lights. And if the streets are not owned by the city, then the HOA is responsible. Am I right? I think after talking to Ethan about that, I think that's what I was told.
okay, so say Cumberland Estates, those streets are owned by the city, correct? So the streetlights that are there is owned by the city, correct? The HO. Right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Daugherty, would you mind using the microphone, please? Thank you.
I would have to check on these on a case-by-case basis. I'm not sure how things were set up.
Right.
I do know we pay for a lot of streetlights in the city. I do know HOAs pay for some as well. I do know if a subdivision does not have an HOA, the city pays for that. But I believe in some of the negotiations, some HOAs accepted to pay for street in their subdivision. So I would have each one will be on a case by case.
So what happens if an HOA gets dissolved?
I imagine we would have to handle that case by case.
You never know. You never know. I'm just asking questions here, that's all. Okay. Thank you.
If you want me to follow up on any particular subdivisions, I can call it Middle Tennessee Electric and see who pays the bill for them.
Thank you. Was it?
Otter Creek doesn't have any yet. They are putting some lights at Old Nashville Road. I don't think it's going into our subdivision, but when you call, can you find out why they don't? I don't know why when we put up new stuff, why don't we bury things because of all the storms? Why they wouldn't bury them? They're putting a bunch of them up. Why they wouldn't bury them? And our HOA is still governed by our developer. What if he decides to do that at some point? Like, do we have to have streetlights in our neighborhood? What if he decides to do that because we can't vote on it, and then are we stuck with it later? He doesn't have them. We don't have them in phase 1 and 2. He's still building 3 and 4. Don't know if there's plans to put them in or not. Would the city know that already, or could he do that at the last minute, or I don't know. So I don't know that question.
I don't want to answer that without talking to Ethan, but if they're in the plan, if the plan was approved with streetlights, then there will be streetlights.
Okay, I don't know. There's
Yeah.
not any in phase 1.
We'd have to
so,
look, we'd have to look at the plan to
Okay,
see about that.
thank you.
Mayor.
Commissioner Buffalini?
And Mr. Daugherty, the reason why I was asking that question is because Cumberland Estates, we just got a raise for our HOAs, and they're currently charging $11,000 for electricity. So I was just curious as to who's responsible for that. I just want to make sure no one was double dipping, not saying that anybody is or isn't. I just want to make sure that everything is lined up the way it should be. So that was my only question. I don't know if it's going to be like that until they're completed with their construction and then handed over 100% to the community for HOA, or, because right now we're still under the, I guess, developers' HOA rules and regulations. So I just wanted to cover that, because I've been getting a lot of questions about the costs for certain things and if it's the city responsibility or if it's us.
I think, like Mr. Doherty said, it's going to be a case by case depending on the verbiage within it. But logic, in my mind, says that streetlights in a development are an amenity no different than a clubhouse or a swimming pool. And the city's not going to pay to have a swimming pool upkept or repaired, or that would be on the HOA to keep that up.
I have
So
the
I would
answer.
imagine that lights are in that same
I
category.
have the answer. Mr. Greer just reached out to me. If the neighborhood has an HOA, the HOA pays for the lights. The city pays for lights when there's no HOA in existing developments. So if the neighborhood has an HOA, the HOA pays for the light bill.
And it would probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, you may know this as well, but if someone brought a development plan to the city, and in that plan there were lights to be added to the development, I'm sure a discussion would be around, there would be a discussion that an HOA would have to be put in place for all the upkeep on that, right? It's 'cause
In our new zoning ordinance, neighborhoods have to have HOAs. So that's going to be one of the things that they haven't, of course, we haven't voted on it yet, but what it states is neighborhoods have to have HOAs.
of certain sizes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Fox, live in Glen Haven subdivision, at least. I got questions about the density of these rezonings. We're doing one after another, one after another. Have y'all ever turned anybody down for a rezoning?
All the time.
So just to go a little deeper in that,
In particular, the one on Pinewood Road, 111
the,
acres there.
the answer, the court.
Annexed it, and immediately RS-40. And on the same agenda, even though it wasn't voted on that meeting, they wanted to rezone it again to an RS-10. That's farmland out there.
Any property that's annexed into the city of Fairview comes in under R40.
Excuse me?
Any property that's annexed into the city limits of Fairview comes in as R40. That's its default zoning for an annexed property.
And the reason they asked for 10 on that property is because that property, the terrain is such that a lot of that property is unbuildable. So they chose to condense the homes into a certain area that is buildable, and the rest of it, because of the terrain, is not buildable. And that's a lot of times when you'll see a little bit higher density, it's because they have to utilize the property that is buildable. So if you spread that 10 over the whole entire mass of the property, it's actually less than 10, but more than 10.
I think it came out to like 1.2, 1.3
1.2, yeah,
units
houses
per acre.
per acre. It's kind of confusing unless you were to see the plan as a whole, the way it's laid out, but it's mainly because of the terrain. A lot of it's not buildable.
And the terrain, but also the tributaries, creeks.
Yeah, see, they've got to avoid those. They can't build. There's so many feet off of each one of those that they have to stay away from. The front, there's water that goes all the way along the front of the property, which makes it not conducive really for any commercial, because you no commercial would be able to be seen from the
I
road.
understand
And
that.
the state actually regulates that piece of it too.
Okay, that answers that question. Another question. Y'all mentioned Bowie Park. How's Bowie Lake doing as far as contamination from the runoff of this project over here? I haven't heard lately.
As far as I know, they're in compliance, and if they're in compliance, that means that their
you
SWIP
had-
has been approved and they have been overseen by TDEC.
Okay. One more. They quit the detour through my neighborhood, Glen Haven, Dogwood Drive. The construction trucks are still coming through there. Can we tell the developer to reroute them back to where they getting a lot of flatbeds coming through there all hours of the day, so.
So we can ask, but we've had this discussion with other neighborhoods in the past. There's still public roads at the end of the day. Now, we can pass regulations that set limits on weight and things like that to roads, but without those being in place, we can't necessarily enforce it.
Okay, just want to.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's just.
I mean, they weren't doing it before the detour went through there, and now they continue to do it even though the detour.
Are you talking about the detour from the sidewalks and traffic light?
Glen Haven Drive to Dogwood? Mm-hmm. Yes. Especially because we.
That will end at some point, but I do understand that it's not the best opportunity for the neighbors to have that happen. It will end once the construction's finished, and once it's finished, the sidewalks and the traffic light there at Cumberland and 100 are going to be, something really awesome for our community. But I do understand that, it's not good to have construction vehicles coming through the neighborhoods, but like Vice Mayor McDonald said, they're public streets, and unless we put some type of weight limit on the roads, they're,
Well, I thought maybe they just didn't know that flatbeds were used to coming through there, and they didn't even look for detour signs. They were just used to going that way, and they may have got used to it, even though I think they were only detoured for a week or so. But nobody else was here, so I thought I'd get up and say something. I need a Vanderbilt hat. But I need a Vanderbilt hat. I was told to ask you. Can't find one anywhere. Thank you.
Yeah, you're wearing
Thank
the
you.
wrong color on that hat.
Try to find a Vanderbilt.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I did want to mention, so we've got rumors. Tell me the times and dates again.
Yeah, so it's next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I want to make sure that I say the correct dates.
And it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday at night, and then Saturday matinee, right?
Yeah, so it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday also at 2 o'clock.
And the reason
the
I
high
asked
school.
that is because the Fairview Community Theater also has their play that weekend, but it's on the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So that's it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the Triangle School. So if this would be a weekend of plays for our community.
Pick your culture.
Yeah. So we've got rumors and we've got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, same weekend. So, support our high school and support our Fairview Community Theater. I know both are going to be great plays. Anyone else to speak? Anyone else have any community information they'd like to give? All right, well, if there's no one else to speak and we have, I think we've given out a lot of good information to the community. Make sure to vote so our kids win. You can just sit there while you're watching TV and just vote one after another. That's pretty cool. And I guess with that, we'll look forward to our next, let me see when that's going to be. Does anybody know off the top of their head?
Thursday, the 6th at 7 o'clock. Was our meeting? Oh, Town Hall.
Oh,
No, I
yeah,
was talking about
sorry.
our next BOC meeting.
Let's see, the next town hall will be January 29th at 7. So January 2026 on the 29th at 7 p.m. Thank you for everyone who came out tonight and those watching at home. And we're always here for you. If you have questions, just please reach out to one of us, and we'll be happy to either answer or find the answer for you. Thank you.